biggest hater in your bed. And if they in your bed, they in your head. Be careful. Hey babes, welcome back to my YouTube channel. How the heck are you? How are you guys feeling? What's going on? What's new? Obviously, if you haven't noticed, I am trying to build a community here for the ladies, okay? For the girlies. So make sure you are tuned in and make sure you subscribe because it's gonna get good this year. I promise, okay? So boom. If you are new here, however, my name is Dyme LaShawn. I talk about lifestyle, love, and self-development. And every little thing that falls underneath that umbrella. So if you're interested in any of those topics or any of the things that could possibly fall underneath that umbrella, make sure you go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss a thing. Throw your girl in the algorithm, okay? Share with a friend. Share with a friend with a friend. All the rest of those things. However, if you are a babe, then you already know what's going on. Okay, boom. So today I'm going to be talking about the self-love journey. Y'all, I don't even think there is enough time to be able to capture your attention and keep it throughout this video to talk about the self-love journey because I feel like it's always going to be ongoing, okay? It's always going to be a consistent and continual thing. And it's very irresponsible to make it seem like it's a one and done, like it's a wham bam, thank you ma'am. It's not. It's just not, because life is gonna happen, things are gonna happen, you're gonna get knocked down on your tushy, you're gonna have to get up, dust yourself off, or as my mom would say, shake it off, and you're gonna have to redevelop, refine, rediscover that love that you have for yourself. So I wanted to go ahead and do a video about my self-love journey and about what it looked like for me and what it could possibly look like for you. Okay, we all are different. What I do ain't always gonna be what you should do. Different strokes for different folks, literally, okay? Anyway, so I just wanna go ahead and start with prefacing the whole video by saying that I've had my own different moments of having to develop, rediscover, find self-love. And in that journey and in that consistent and continual discovery and rediscovery, I literally have been able to develop my own ideas about myself, what my identity is, what my deal breakers are at this point in my life, what I think are soft no's. And when I say soft no's, I mean like it's a no, but it's not completely off the table if it makes sense. I've discovered those. I discovered that I even have those. Because I've started to pour into myself in a way where I got to know myself, and it's made me a better person. It's made me a more solid person for myself and for others. And so I think that that has really enhanced my quality of life. And I think that it enhances everyone's quality of life when the people we surround ourselves around love themselves. And as a result, I wouldn't ever love another man who doesn't love himself. Because it's work. But if you're not gonna put in the work to love you, now how the hell you gonna love me? You feel me? So I am gonna be looking at my notes because I wanna make sure that I don't miss anything that came to me when this topic came to me. So that's what I'm looking down at, okay? So the first thing that I have here is struggling with not being able to see myself clearly. Wow. So when I first started my journey of trying to figure out like what love for myself is and navigating like my relationships and why they look the way that they do with men and with like my just platonic relationships with friends, why they look the way that they do, what my ideas are about myself and about others, what are my conditionings, you know, all the rest of these different things, I realized, well, damn, are you viewing yourself through their lens or yours? can you see yourself? And you know what was so interesting is that I realized that I could not see myself. That was the disconnect. So when I realized that, it really got me to thinking, got my wheels turning like, you are having issues with the people in your life because you do not see what they see. And in my case, I was putting myself at a disadvantage. And in my case, I didn't actually pay attention to how I was showing up with others or showing up in the world externally. And so for me, I'm like, why am I being treated this way? Not thinking about, girl, that's how you feel when you in here. That's not how you look to other people. Inside, you might feel small, but outside, you might seem like a big goddamn deal. And so now you're running into people that see you one way and you see yourself another way, and you're completely unaware of who and what you are. That literally turned my shit upside down. And that was the beginning of like my self-love journey. Seeing myself clearly. And it doesn't mean accepting the projections of other people. It means actually considering the facts of the matter. Actually considering, is what they're seeing a thing? So for example, on the inside, I would have moments, especially in high school, where I would feel like tall and out of place and just uncomfortable. But externally to other people, they saw me as graceful and tall and beautiful. In my mind, I'm like, I wish I was shorter. Okay? And that's real tea, okay? Because there's a disconnect between how I see myself and how I'm showing up for the majority of others, and I have not considered the facts that I could feel this way about me and that other people can see me in a different light, that doesn't change how I feel or what I think. But it does kind of change the facts, right? Now that I realize that these two things are opposite, I can really figure out what they're seeing and who I actually am. So now I know how to navigate, and now I know where my ass is at in terms of how to maneuver. Because now I know what a possible perception is, and now I know what I might look like to others. Okay, real quick, to break this down further. You guys have seen Wizard of Oz. When they go on this whole journey to find the Wizard of Oz, they're thinking that they're gonna find somebody that's gonna change their life, okay? That's gonna give them the answers to all of the things that they need. Give them a heart, give them courage, you know, take away fear, all these different things. They get to the Wiz and they realize that the Wiz is a tiny little man, scared of a little puppy. The Wiz was projecting an idea, but how he saw himself was completely different. He's like, oh, I'm little old me. But other people saw him as big. So how people were responding to him and what they were willing to do to get to him were grand. But meanwhile, he felt something different on the inside. So I say that to say, once I realized that, wow, Diamond, like, you're not just some little piece of on the wall. And this could be conversely too. People can think you small, but you really feel big, vice versa, whatever. Really start to figure out your movements. Because once you figure out how long your limbs are, and I know that that's funny because I'm actually tall, but how long your limbs are, you know how much space you need in order to move. And that's where my self-love journey showed up. Working on being able to see myself clearly as I was and not as my insecurities told me I was. Okay? So that's where it started for me. And then I realized that, wow, Diamond, because you see yourself this way, or because you haven't been giving yourself the opportunity to really move around in your authority and take up your space and do your things, you're allowing people to mistreat you. Because you're not moving in your greatness. You're not moving how you're supposed to be moving. Know yourself and know your worth, right? You gotta love on yourself a little bit more to figure out what's actually going on in there. Really figure out what messaging you're allowing to penetrate you. And figure out why you're allowing people to do X, Y, Z. And really work on how you see yourself. Because once you see yourself differently, everything will change, right? So, and then it went there. It went there with really like, wow, so if I see myself this way, that's why other people are doing this. They think they're getting away with something because they see the light. You just don't see the light, Diamond. And that's why you're getting the short end of the stick, because you're signing up for it, because you cannot see yourself. Wow. The more you know. With that being said, you start wondering like, wow, why are you willing to put in so much work for others and don't put in the work for yourself? Because you say, wow, I'm not that big of a deal, but this person that I love is a big deal because I've attached a big deal to who they are. I've literally projected love onto them, love that I don't even have for myself, for them, and I'm willing to do all this freaking work to make them see that I'm the one. Because I'm too lazy to win myself over, so I'm gonna just try to win them over. Ooh, it gets nasty. Then you start doing things and trying to be away and performing and being weird because you want this person, pick me, choose me.
So pick me, choose me, love me.
You're not saying that, but deep down inside you feel that way. You cool, calm, collected on the surface though. You want to convince them, or there's some level of a manipulation tactic that you're trying to apply because you're too tired, or you're too lazy, or you're too disinterested in doing the work on yourself, because it all stems from in here. So the self-love journey is not like cupcakes and Range Rovers from the start. No, it gets ugly before it gets better, okay? So then you start realizing like, dang, I just want to love somebody else so I don't have to love myself. And then it gets spicy, right? And then I was like, you know what? That's ugly. I'm not that girl. I'm not that girl. You get tired of going through the same thing over and over again because you realize that it's insanity. And so you say, I'm not that girl. I'm not doing that. Like literally, I know who I am now. I can see myself a little clearer. So you know what, with my newfound clarity, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna consult somebody else who's even clearer because they don't know me. They have no biases. And on top of that, I know I got some trauma or something that has happened along the way in this lifetime that has contributed to the choices that I'm making, or that has contributed to the thoughts that I'm thinking about myself. And so you go to therapy and you say, hey, this is how I feel about XYZ. And they say, well, why do you feel that way? What if we thought this? And what if this didn't happen? And then you start really getting to the root of, wow, I didn't know. And that's what my self-love journey looked like. It looked like me waking up one day and saying, well, what the heck is going on here? And then wondering further, like, so is that why I'm doing this? And then being interested in looking into different things on YouTube and Google and trying to figure out certain things, attracting certain partners, wanting to stay in places you know aren't good for you, etc., and asking more and more questions, becoming more and more interested in what I had going on, and saying, how you gonna be a bad bitch if you just look like a bad bitch? How? Betty, how? Because you know you can look extravagant and be basic, right? You know that, right? Like, even if nobody else is privy to it, you know deep down inside you basic. And that's how I developed a certain lust for self-development. And that's how I developed my ability to be able to see things, notice things, and call bullshit on myself and on others. Right? And so that was like the next step for me in terms of like my journey. And I feel like that sort of started taking place around 22. Around 22 as an adult. Because I went to therapy a little earlier on as a kid for some other like actual trauma. But like as an adult, I feel like that's when I was like, that's not glamorous. Right? But then it starts to become delicious because you start to love yourself. Oh, and this is a good one. Once I started going to therapy, and once I really started to like start to grow into that lady that I wanted to be, I wasn't out of the dark, clearly, because I made so many more mistakes after the beginning of my self-love journey. But like I said, it's continuing, it's ongoing. I started to realize later in my 20s more recent than my ego would like to admit, but more recent in my 20s, that you don't have to be performative to be worthy. Baby, when I realized that, I was like, oh, mind blowing. You mean I don't have to put out to get? And when I say put out to get, I'm not talking about physically. And I'm not talking about not being reciprocal. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about I don't need to be a workhorse in order to be an efficient worker. I don't need to be self-depreciating in order to be useful or loving or compassionate to someone else. I don't need to be a doormat in order to be loved. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't gotta put myself all the way down at the totem pole in order to be useful or lovable or cared about. When I realized that, now that's when the bossiness started coming up out of me, because I was like, oh baby, like, honestly, y'all can't tell me nothing. It's like it was always in me, but when I actually decided on that, I was like, okay, I feel like that in fine. And that's just what it is. You wanna go, go. Because guess what I'm not gonna do? Kill myself so you can live. Jesus already did that. That's not my job. And that's when my self-love journey started getting sweeter. And then I started building up that muscle where I was like, you know what? What's the worst that could happen by choosing myself? And when I say choosing myself, I'm not saying F everybody else in the literal sense anyway. But I'm saying, what is the worst that could happen by me literally loving myself and stepping into my honor and stepping into my beliefs about me and the world that I am creating for myself, my own reality? What's the worst that can happen? Like, the people don't like it? Baby, when you was doing everything they wanted you to do, they didn't like it. Save us up. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like it just got sexier from there, okay? The self-love journey started putting on her lacy red panties for me then. Then it got good. Then it got good. Then the thigh high started going on. And I was like, oh, let's get good, right? And then also, I started looking at things that were not necessarily good or bad, wrong or right, but I started looking at them as non-serving or serving. Because I feel like when I was going through the whole journey of this is good or this is bad, or I'm a good person and I want to be viewed as good, or I feel like bad people do that and I don't want to be viewed like this. And when I was doing all of that categorizing and all of that labeling and all of that titling, I was attaching stigma to things that were not necessarily meant to be stigmatized. Or I was attaching connotation to things that the connotation might not have even been fitting. You know what I'm saying? Like, a mother should never take time for herself. Once you have kids, it needs to be all about them. What? But that is a message that a lot of women have been told, or more fitting for me, once you're a mom, you can't be sexy. You gotta be a good mom, so you can't be guilty of any of these two things. But it's like guilty of guilt, shame, bad. These are negative connotations.
Catch me? Infringement, insist? I don't like these words as much as please. Thank you, I'm sorry to bother you, Nikki. These are better words you use. You come to my motherfucking club without an invitation.
Who said they were bad? Who said that? Who said they were bad? Diamond, ask yourself how you feel about them. Are they bad? Or is society at large telling you that they're bad? When I started really looking at it from what serves you and what doesn't, just put it in those two categories, okay? What serves you and what doesn't? Let's keep it light. Let's keep it general. Does it serve you to still have and exude sex appeal as a mother? Yes, it does, because this is what I feel comfortable with. This is how I identify as a sexy woman, a woman who has sex appeal. I enjoy it, I take pride in it, and I don't feel like there's anything wrong with it. So keep it. We'll keep it. Does it serve you to neglect your kid just because you might want to go to the club? No, I personally don't feel good about that. That doesn't sit well with me. And so I think that there's balance that needs to be had. Okay, we'll throw it. Do you get what I'm saying? And the self-love journey just got better and better and better, because for me, I was like, it's not a good or bad thing. It just is, what do you stand behind and what do you throw back? What do you stand beside and what do you want to disassociate from? And then you unpack those things. Yeah? That's when it started getting good for me. Then I think somewhere along the line, I started to bet on myself. It's the fruits of the labor. Yes? Like, I started to bet on myself. Like, Dyme, you can trust you because now your intuition is clearer. You can hear yourself now. It's not just what the other people are saying. It's not just what the other people are whispering and chattering about. You can hear yourself now. Your intuition is able to nudge you and not have to knock you over the head, right? Like now you can hear yourself, yes? Now you know who you are because you're developing your personality and you know what you would do and what you wouldn't, what you're capable of and what you're not, what you stand beside and what you don't. And while those lists are still consistently and continuously developing, at this point in your life, you do know those things. And you are open for them to change at any time. But right now, you have a good grip on what your beliefs are. So if someone comes and tries to challenge your beliefs or challenge what you stand beside, you will know what to keep and what to throw back because you know who you are. Then your self-esteem goes up, then your stock goes up. Because whether somebody else agrees with your stock or not, now you know who you are. You feel me? It doesn't matter what anybody else says. You know what their projection is. You know what their idea is. You know what their thought process of who you are is. But then you also know yourself and you know where the differences come in. And you know what the truth is. Yes? So when you had these issues or these different things that come up, you know how to navigate it for you. Bet on yourself. What could you lose besides people that ain't aligned with you anyway? What could you lose besides a situation that can be enhanced by what you know now? What could you lose? And that's why reframing is such a beautiful thing too, because you stop looking at things as good and bad or wrong or right or I'm gonna lose or I'm gonna gain. You start looking at it for all of the beautiful possibilities of the truth. And it's not so rigid anymore. And that is what I have done on my self-love journey. And that is what I have experienced so far in my journey to love myself. Because now I bet on myself. Now if I don't like something, I say, you know, I understand you're entitled to your opinion, your feelings are valid, but I do not agree. Hey, this continuously makes me feel bad, and there is no reframing because I just do not agree with this level of interaction or this way of interaction. So I'm just gonna have to log out. I'm gonna have to end this. And I've been a lot more graceful with myself and others. I'm a lot less explosive because I don't need to explode to explain. Because I'm not holding it in that long anymore. I'm letting you know, hey, I don't really like the way this is going. Can you give me more context? If I care that much, or if I think that this person is reasonable enough to have a discourse that makes sense. And if I don't, I just say, okay, I get it. Even though I don't really got it. Whatever they talking about anyway, and move on gracefully. And then I know how to deal with that person, if I have to deal with them at all. I started doing that too. Just kind of cutting off people that didn't make any sense. And sometimes that's gonna be your lover, mama. Sometimes that's gonna be the person you lay next to every day. I hate it, but it's a fact. Sometimes your biggest hater in your bed. And if they in your bed, they in your head. Be careful. Okay? So I had to do that too. I had to kind of like give people the boot. Outside of those things, I also started incorporating affirmations, telling myself the truth. I wanted to believe. And that's the thing. You gotta be a smidge delusional, you know, and when I say delusional, meaning that it does not need to be your reality right now, but knowing that it could be your reality, right? So you have to be like, oh yes, I am, you know, the creator of my own reality and I can have anything I want in life. You might not feel that way right now, but you keep saying it. I bet you start creating. I bet your reality shifts because your subconscious will start to believe you. So I started doing that. Like really talking to myself in that affirmative way, writing on my board. I have a whiteboard by the door that has my 6 facts for every month that, you know, I'm a money magnet. You know, I'm a generational curse breaker. You know, I can create my own reality. Different things, whatever it is that means something for you. And you start to recite these things, you feel good. And I started doing that. And it actually started to change my idea about my circumstances, about the possibilities, about the facts. Because I was creating my own reality, and loving myself really meant that I was going to invest a certain level of belief in myself. And so when I started reciting these affirmations, I started to believe it. Mirror work too. I think I have a little short one here where I'm in the mirror and I'm like talking to myself. Because if you can't say it to you, who gonna be able to say it to you? You gotta say it to you. You gotta believe yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's you and you. So mirror work too, that's been a part of my self-love journey as well, and me being in touch with me as well. And mirror work naked is actually like bomb. It's super bomb too. Because if you don't like looking at yourself naked, then when you're in a bedroom, it's gonna be a little bit weird too, and you're gonna be giving off some vibes there too. And that's a whole nother different topic. I'll do a video on that later. But anyway, yes. So those are my things. The girlies keep talking about soft life only. Soft life. You gotta do hard work to be soft, baby. You do. And that's what the people are not telling you. You don't just wake up and say, oh, soft life. And if that's what you've been expecting, I bet that expectation has been whipping you upside your tail every single day because it's not realistic. You gotta do the hard work inside and the hard work outside. You wanna have a soft, beautiful life, people laying things at your feet, people asking you, well, how can I? They gotta look at you and feel like, whoa, this lady deserves this. And the only way for you to get the masses to see that when you come around, they're not gonna give you scraps. And this is not 100 dependent on other people, because that's just a bonus. But you gotta come with it. They gotta feel that energy. And that's why I talk so much about arrogance and confidence being different, because if you're arrogant, they're gonna be like, this person arrogant, this pompous piece of crap. But they're not going to believe you truly have compassion, you're truly a good person, you deserve nice things. They're actually going to try to shade you or slight you. But when you're just confident, oh, something completely different. Something completely different. In the energy, it will show. That confidence and the energy will be apparent. It's a reflection of the love that I've given myself. It's a reflection of the love that I have worked on developing for myself. And I'm really proud of it. And that's why I've developed this channel, because I want to share it with all of you. And I hope that you share your newfound experiences with other people. And ultimately, that just sweetens everyone's life. Everyone's life. Like, everybody just is a little happier when they have happy people in their lives. And you know what sparks happiness? Self-love. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. A little long-winded here, but I want to give you guys some realistic idea of who you're chatting with when you come to my channel, what you can expect to get from this channel, and you know, give you guys some realistic foundation of the different things that I've traveled through and the different things that I've done in order to get to this place where I do speak about these things. So I hope to see you guys on the next one. Do not forget to subscribe and like and hit the bell and share. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.